gene duplication, and the, if it was mutated at the same time, it might receive a different frequency. So yeah, I guess you could find a human somewhere out of 6 billion of us that might have an extra, might have 5 of them. Okay, I haven't heard of that though. I don't know. So, but we certainly don't have the most. Shrimp have 7. Pigeons have 5. Okay, so they got better color vision than we do. Okay, so this is the chemical that receives the light. This is the one in nature that nature uses. Everybody uses the same thing. Insects, bees, birds, whatever. They're all using this retinal to absorb the light. So it's a very important chemical through evolution for vision. Okay? What happens is you have a cis double bond here. When light hits, anytime you have a lot of double bonds that are in connection with each other, they almost act like an antenna for electromagnetic energy. Okay? And so they're going to absorb that light, and it's just at the frequencies where we can see. Okay? Just happens to be the frequency where this thing will absorb light, and that's why we see in that little frequency range, because of this chemical. Okay? If this was a little different, we might see in a different range. Okay? But what happens, it goes from a cis with enough energy that causes it to flip to a trans, right here. So you can imagine the photoreceptor, your opsin is sitting there like this. It's in the membrane, okay? And your cis chemical is sitting in there like that. And all of a sudden the light hits it and it goes trans, and the protein feels that. It's like a mechanical force, okay? And that's what changes the protein down in the membrane and sends the signal. You just saw something. Okay? And then the body has to recycle that trans, make it go back to cis, and then set it back in there. Okay? So this comes basically from a vitamin E type structure. All these things are called carotenoids. They're all yellowish orange because of the way they absorb light. Okay? Which is why carrots are orange. Okay? Which is why fruits are yellow. They all have these carotenoid structures very similar to that chemical. This is bacteria making carotenoids. This is a big pool out in the national park out west, Yellowstone. That's a trail with humans walking on it right there. So you can see how big that hot springs is with all the bacteria making these things. This I thought was kind of interesting, but we're kind of running out of time, so I want to speed up. This is purely PBS. Some of the ganglion cells can absorb light, and even people who are blind and have no rods and cones and it's hooked up to their pineal glands, so they have their day-night rhythm sort of things. They also sometimes have sort of a sixth sense that something's moving, okay, but they don't know what because they can't see it. But they think it's because the ganglion cells are picking up some light. But that's not connected back to the occipital lobe, so they don't see anything. And since we're talking about body rhythms, I threw this in here at one point, but this is just for fun. Sharpest ride of blood pressure also accounts for why you have a lot of heart attacks in the morning. Ambulances at around 6, 7 o'clock. I thought this was weird. High alertness at 10, but your best coordination is in the afternoon and your fastest reaction time. And this is tested on thousands of people, okay, to get their average abilities. So, bowel movement, 8:30, unless you drink coffee. Okay.
Why is this like this?
This is a circadian rhythm. They test thousands of people and put them under psychiatric kind of tests where you're testing their reaction times and things like that. So it was probably done on thousands of college students. Psychology professors doing this in minutes. But this is your circadian rhythms. Maybe spend a little time talking about this. The left side, if you're looking into his head, okay, the left side of the occipital lobe is going to process all the information that comes from the left, or the right visual field, I mean. Okay? So that's going to come across. It's going to hit the outside of the left eye, and hit the inside of the right eye, and those inside fibers cross over in the optic chiasm, but the outside fibers don't. So by the time you're here, all of this is from your right field of vision. Okay? And now you can kind of predict what kind of lesions you're going to get when you have problems in these areas. If you just cut the optic nerve, you're going to lose the fibers that are crossing, all you're going to get is the lateral vision, the peripheral vision out to the sides. Okay? So when people have enlarging tumors, the curtain starts to close on them. Okay? They start to lose their lateral vision. Okay? That's usually their complaint. Okay? So, but now once you're past that, a stroke or an injury or gunshot or a tumor or something, if you cut all these visual fields here anywhere, you're going to lose that whole field of vision. Okay? So, well, they put it over here. Okay, so you're losing your left field of vision in that case. Okay? So it's interesting the way that sets up. Beautiful dissection here, most beautiful dissection of brain I've ever seen, so I threw this on here. Don't worry about these terms, but you're only responsible, remember, for the optic nerve and optic chiasm, the olfactory tracts. But look where the optic, there's the chiasm, there's the crossover. Now we're coming back, we go into the thalamus right here. Everything goes to the thalamus before it goes to the cortex. And then you get this wide band of visual fibers, this radiation like this, before it goes back to the occipital lobe. So little strokes out here can actually cut off little pieces of your vision. They call it pie in the sky or pie on the floor. Okay, just little slices. Okay, and obviously a big stroke got all the radiation would knock out that whole field of vision. Okay, and you can see here from the geniculate, lateral geniculate body, from the thalamus, the connections to the superior colliculus. That's where we get our visual reflexes. Okay? That's a real pretty dissection. Mammillary bodies up here. That's the same thing. We don't want to spend too much time. Just remember, myopia is nearsightedness. Okay? I'm not going to ask you whether the eye is too long or the lens is too curved. Don't worry about memorizing that. Just remember, myopia is nearsightedness. You have better near vision than far. Okay? Hyperopia or farsightedness is the opposite. Okay? And you can see how the light coming in is not focusing on the back of the eye, on the fovea. Okay? So you've got to put a lens in to make it come in and focus sharper, make it focus before it would normally do. Okay? And that's the whole point of contacts and lenses and things like that, is to get that focal point right there, to get it right on the fovea centralis. Okay? That's how glasses work. I've already talked to you about accommodation and presbyopia, which is age-related eye changes, and that's when the accommodation basically starts to go bad. Okay. Reading glasses. Took me till about 48 before I had to start using them. And I used to have 20/15 vision most of my life. So, we'll do one. Okay. How about stare at this star right here for about 10-15 seconds here. Still see it probably. It takes a while. So your brain is interpreting the white light now, and it's stumbling over the areas that were burned out by those other colors, and now your brain interprets it as a different color. Okay? So the world out there is just what your brain is interpreting. Your smells, your taste, your vision, even your hearing, your brain is interpreting all these things and building a picture of the world, which isn't always true. That's the Italian flag. We don't need that one. That's a little red birdie that'll fly away. We don't really need that one. I only got 3 minutes, so I thought I'd show you some eye problems. Conjunctivitis, pink eye, bacterial or viral. You can see all the dilated blood vessels in the sclera, okay, the right part of the eye.
Is it bleeding?
No, that's pussy fluid, crusty fluid over here. We all know this is a stye. Blepharitis tends to be an infection around the eye, like that. Palpebritis would be an infection of the eyelid, a chalazion or chalazion would Cincinnati on the Ohio River for 4 years in college, and almost 90% of the people in that whole area have been infected with this. You breathe it in the dust, and it gets in your lungs. You might have a little cold symptom, and then it goes away usually. But about 20% of people, it gets into the bloodstream, and it infects the retina of the eye. And I didn't know I had it until years later when I was in my residency. I was taking an exam, and I noticed that, wow, the words are wavy, it's like, thought I was just tired, stressed. But so I went and had it checked out, and sure enough, I've got, not quite this big, but I've got several lesions like this on my retina, and they had to shoot them with a laser to kill it, to tack it down so the retina wouldn't separate, and so I have dark spots in my vision now. When I close one eye, it's like half the glass is gone right here. But when I open both eyes, it's fine, I don't notice it. I had to stop playing baseball at night.
Good reason. Good thinking.
I was getting hit in the head with lots of balls. So it's no fun, and so each eye, the ophthalmologist over here, Vaughn, with the good bedside manner that he has, I remember the first time he saw it, he goes, "Holy shit!" Anyway, so that's a fungus. This is diabetes. You can see little aneurysms in the arteries. This is probably a ruptured aneurysm that's bleeding underneath the retina. You see what these are called cotton wool spots here. And basically, this is the #1 cause of blindness in this country, diabetes. Okay? And almost everybody, after 20 years of diabetes, nearly all patients will have this degree of retinopathy, some degree like that. So, here's a malignant melanoma. The melanin in the choroid layer, and those little pigment layers by the photoreceptors, they can get cancerous, and you got a big dark freckle in the eye. This is when you got to operate to take the eye out. Because if that goes malignant, it'll kill you, so you have to take it out. This is called a pterygium. The T is silent. You'll see this in the mall a lot, especially a lot of older folks that have been out in the sun a lot.
I have a question.
Yep.
You see my eye right here? You see
Not
it?
in the dark.
Okay. This is clear, but this is dark.
Oh, you think you have a freckle?
It's dark.
Oh, show me when we turn the light.
So what
You can get freckles in the whites of the
Oh,
eye.
yeah. My side.
My wife has that actually.
No,
Yeah, so that's not uncommon.
It's not my eye.
It's not necessarily melanoma, especially if you've had it forever.
So what? How does
No,
this?
I know. I've had it.
This is
It
the
changed.
conjunctiva. The conjunctival membrane is growing over the cornea, and they usually won't come in until it starts to affect their vision. And then the ophthalmologist has to go in and just kind of slice this off, and just kind of peel it back and cut it off. But they'll start to grow over the eye like this. Very common in the South, and a lot of people, especially people who work outside.
So the sun makes it grow?
It causes maybe irritation, yeah. And onchocerciasis, major cause of blindness in the world. It's caused by a little nematode like the ones you saw out in Lake Elbert. A little bigger than that, though. They're not always microscopic. You'll see tons of pictures like this all over Central Africa where this is endemic. And it's a little kid leading the blind man around by the stick. Okay? But you see how the worms get along in the eye, in the conjunctiva, and start to scar the cornea, and then they basically go blind after that. So, major cause.
Had that been caught early, is it treatable?
Yeah, you treat it with the stuff to kill the worms. But it's known as river blindness. It's out there. It's hard to treat everybody, though, in the third world. Here's the worm in the eye.
Oh, that's
Okay.
gross.
You can go on YouTube if you want and put in filaria in the eye or worm in the eye and watch them take them out.
Oh.
They've got that on video. Trachoma. This is a major cause of blindness in the world. There's 84 million spread it like a cold, okay? And if you get enough of it in the eye for long enough and get enough infections, it causes the scarring across the cornea and they go blind, okay? So, major, major problem. Sorry, or thanks for sticking with me 5 minutes too long. Last lecture, gang.
Yay.
Thanks for sticking it out.